Dr. Sue, if I may come back to you, ma'am. You know,
Yes,
so the whole journey on cloud, and you're right, public and private. Do you think this has any catalyst in enhancing citizen experience, ma'am?
of course, Mohit. That shared services or cloud is a pillar to digital transformation, and we experience it in Mampu because we are the one who drive across the government online services, and through our government online services gateway, which is the landing page for government online services, uh, which is actually hosted in government cloud, we are able to offer a better experience for citizens because it's enable multiple agencies to come together and share data for in providing that moment or that services. That one services is supported by multiple agencies who share data. So surely that has actually provided a better experience to user. So yes, to answer that. And on another note, having it hosted in cloud has actually helped us provide a better standardization across the board, better security, again touch wood. We do our level best to enhance created better trust to the citizen. So they use services provided by government private cloud or even other cloud for that matter, they are assured behind that uh, the, 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 the technology, the process, policy is actually gearing towards not only enhancing their experience in using the services, but they know that that's actually supported by a trusted environment. Uh, that's the perspective of that. Beside that, of course, like I mentioned just now, the multiple agency having access or hosted in the cloud environment is able to seamlessly exchange data as well as more seamless uh, process to process like API to API transaction. Hence, it actually produce a result to a better transaction functional value, which we hope improve user experience and enable us to basically think of many more opportunity to serve the citizen.
You're right. You know what? What this has done is it's forcing government agencies who who had opposition at times by saying, "Oh no, no, we cannot go to the cloud because it's not secure, or our
Mm.
data has to stay on on prem." It's giving us that flexibility to move
Mm.
outside. Dr. Ong, if I may ask you, what is the cloud architecture in the private sector, ma'am, or even in organization going to look like post COVID, in your opinion?
Okay, we all know the evolution of cloud architecture. For those early adopter, everybody started with the private cloud. This is different from those born in the cloud organization where they will just straight away go to the public cloud. So most of us started with the private cloud and then we migrated to either public cloud straight away or we go for a hybrid model. And then for some organization, if they have a lot of data application to manage, they may even opt for the multi-cloud architecture. So I talk about this because my organization, MDEC, we have gone through this. Today we are on the multi-cloud because we see the benefit of doing that. So for businesses or even for government, I think we have to look at what is that we need. I do believe that for some, they may still want to keep a hybrid model because some of the data may be very confidential. You want to make sure. At the same time, even though I'm a firm believer that any cloud platform, especially the established one, are very secure. And sometimes it's even more secure than your privately owned because we may not have the expertise, but whereas those platform player, they may hire thousands of experts to making sure that your data is protected. So moving forward, I think public cloud is there to stay. And then for larger organization, they may go for hybrid. And for some organization, And more people will go to multi-cloud. Why multi-cloud is so important is that you have something to help you to back up. It also help you to shape your data, your application to where that serve you better. So that is what I believe the private sector, the industry will be moving towards eventually. As we see the technology is more mature, more cloud service providers are coming in with a different type of services. The likelihood of people moving to that situation where cloud is a commodity, where people will use where it fits their purpose. Yes.
Yes, no, and you're right. It is fit for purpose. And Dr. Fazila, that just leads me to a natural question. Everybody seems to be re-engineering their cloud architecture. And that's because I think our requirements are changing and we're becoming more and more aware based on the situation that's going around. What's your advice, ma'am, to people, on the architecture, for example, and how do you see it happening tomorrow?
Uh, well, I don't really have an answer for that because we are still early in the journey. Ministry of Health is still early in the journey, and a lot of work is still in progress. But we have learned a lot during the COVID time. In fact, we have already seriously considering cloud deployment for even our nationwide EMR project. That was pre-COVID. We have already considering it. And during COVID, we even went live in Port Dickson for our cloud deployment HRS using a private cloud. So these are the things that work is going on. And during COVID also we realized that we have reached out to the citizen through their consumer services using cloud. So there's no turning back. Moving forward, there's no turning back. But in terms of the architecture, I think it will be a mix of hybrid or multi-cloud strategy and so forth. But this, of course, together with our partner Mampu, we have to design this. But I think like many other countries, the cloud-first strategy, I was made to believe that Malaysia is already looking into this. Perhaps Dato' Eng and Dato' Su may have more answers to this. But when we embrace cloud, it must be robust, it must be resilient architecture, and it must be, and I agree to Dato' Eng, it must be fit for use. So I think moving forward, it will be a mix of hybrid or a mix of public and private cloud. So that is what I envision for the health sector.
Yes, ma'am. And you're right. Not only for the health sector, I think that's for every sector right about now. The
Yeah,
word hybrid
correct.
is here to stay, and
Yes.
hybrid has multiple connotations to it, right? It's not only on-prem and cloud, but it's on-prem and a multi-cloud strategy.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
don't have all your eggs in one basket, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So ST, if I can come to you, sir, with all the bad actors out there, with everything going on, right, and with so much more data coming in that we are pulling in from all sources, any suggestions for us how to keep our environment safe? Not just cloud, but just a little bit broader on that, please.
Yeah, okay. But specifically on cloud, I think it's important that we understand that the responsibility still lies squarely with ourselves as the organization to secure the data and to make sure that everything is secure. You see, going to cloud is merely using the infrastructure, but you do not relinquish the responsibility, and that's very important. There are a lot of people do not realize. They simply feel that I can rely on the cloud provider security and they'll be taken care of. The reality is usually for a lot of cloud providers, security is an add-on, it's not a default choice, which is kind of surprising. We expect that to improve over time. But the situation is it is an add-on functionality that you have to choose. So it is not something that you definitely will get. So how to strengthen it? I would say is back to the age-old people, process, and technology. People have touched on the general awareness of the IT user. The expert training is also very important. And today we do see a shortfall of expert resources out there. And even though we provide the expert training, you know, come to this realization that we say, okay, we need to partner. And we have done train the trainer session whereby we teach the professors so that they can then take the curriculum, match with their pedagogy, which is where they are better at, and then they teach a larger mass so that this can be quickly ramped up, especially when you're looking at across country, across industry. Then the second pillar is, of course, the process. Today we talk a lot about processes, but we need to think about risk assessment. We need to think about SOC processes. We talk a lot about business recovery process, but we never think about incidents response processes should you get compromised. And incident response, both from a technology angle, being able to track that down and secure yourself quickly after that, but also from a communications angle to make sure that you handle the backlash after that. And that's a lot of things that a lot of our customers do not realize. And we went to them and say, look, this is something that we can help you. Technology, of course, the call of security has to rely on technology because we are in a digitized world today. So I will broadly put it into three aspects: the central, which is where the data center, the cloud, and everything; the endpoint, where you are accessing from your home today, and also from the office; and the last piece, which is the management and the monitoring of the entire resources. And as you burst in and out of the providers, how do you secure the data? And as the providers move from one data center to another data center seamlessly to serve your user better, how is it protected? That consistent security, being able to monitor, being able to plan it, is actually important. And the bedrock of that is the intelligence, knowing what are the bad actors doing out there, and being able to take a proactive step is also very important. That is also where we are putting a lot of focus with our researchers to make sure that we publish information like this on a constant basis.
Absolutely, yeah, and you're right. You know what? We sometimes take it for granted that just because we are using a service, that service is 100% secure. And yes, you can never outsource responsibility. You only outsource a service, right, guys? And that's very, very important.